The quarterfinals of the Paris Olympics have been confirmed, and the first one is an absolutely massive contest. New Zealand versus South Africa. Now, these two sides did play in the pool stages, but now find themselves matching up again. New Zealand top qualifier from the group. South Africa, they were the second best, third place team, so still making it through to the quarterfinals. But in this preview, we'll be looking through at the previous fixtures for the two sides, the key players to watch out for, and then at the end, a prediction of who we think will get themselves the victory. But we will start with New Zealand. They were a part of Pool A, just like the Blitzboks, and their opening contest was up against the Japanese. They were able to win at 40 points to 12, New Zealand. So a great start to the competition. They had their fair share of errors throughout that game, but the good news was Japan, they just weren't quite on that same level, which it allowed New Zealand to, even though they made those errors, still walk away with a victory. Their next game up against the South Africans. This one was a little bit surprising. The end score in the contest, 17 points to 5. I did think it was going to be a lot closer, but South Africa, they were a bit of a slow burner throughout this Olympics competition. They started off a bit rough, but as it has progressed, they have got a lot stronger. And then New Zealand, their most recent game, it was up against the Irish, winning at 14 points to 12. Now, at the start of that game, I was asked to give my prediction, and I said normally what happens when these two sides play, Ireland get the lead, New Zealand score in the last minute, and then they end up winning the contest, and that is exactly what happened. Ireland, they were 12 points to 7 up, heading into the last maybe 50 seconds or so. Then New Zealand pull off the last minute try and get themselves the win in the end. So Ireland, they are going to be facing Fiji from that defeat up against New Zealand. So not an easy matchup for either of the sides, no matter who won that game. For the South Africans, their first game was up against the Irish, and they were defeated 10 points to 5. Just not really the best Blitzboks performance we've ever seen. They were ill-disciplined, the handling was poor, and that was kind of the trend in the game up against New Zealand as well, when it was that 17 points to 5. Day one that the Blitzboks wanted to forget, but day two has certainly started off with a hiss and a roar. They have got themselves one win from one, and that was up against the Japanese, winning at 49 points to 5. Now, South Africa needed to win that game by 21 points to find themselves ahead of Samoa, which would then give them the spot in the quarterfinals. They went a bit above and beyond, winning that game by 44. In the end, they were clinical. They were brilliant when it came to hanging on to possession, and that is something up against New Zealand that will be the key. But looking through at the key players for these sides for New Zealand, Akulia Rokalisoa, his step is still absolutely lethal, and even though it will be challenging, he will be trying to break through that defence. I think that Leroy Carter has started finding his form in this competition. He was a bit quiet yesterday, but does seem to be a lot more evident in today. We actually saw that in the game up against the Irish, scoring that first try in the second half within the first 30 seconds. And then the last player to watch out for New Zealand, I believe, will be Narohi Magavi Black. Just seems to add that really strong base for New Zealand's backline. The breakdowns are a bit of a concern though for New Zealand. In particular, I would say Fihi Fininanofo. He's been given away on average around 2 penalties per game. That is the last thing you want to do up against South Africa. And for the Blitzboks, they have got a bit of a penalty magnet of their own per se, Ryan Oosterhuizen. He gets some of them right and he wins the turnovers, but others, he gives away penalties. He got a yellow card in the opening contest due to a high tackle. That man's discipline has to be on point. But outside of the discipline, South Africa have got some absolute units out there on the field, whether that is Zane Davids to bring the power game for the Blitzboks, whether that is Shilton van Wyk's pace. That is absolutely phenomenal when he finds himself in space. But I think the biggest key for the South Africans has to be Selvin Davids. That man at times has carried the South African 7 side on his back. I don't see this game being any different for them to succeed. I mean, we've seen some great performances from Roscoe Speckman since getting himself that starting spot after the injury of Nokia, but Davids is the key. That being Selvin, Zane as well, though, the bigger of the two Davids, he will be one to watch out for as well. But now we are up to that stage of a prediction for this game. Now, the first time that these two sides played in the competition, it was 17 points to 5 in favour of New Zealand. I can see this game being a lot closer. And based off their last performance, you know, South Africa definitely, I feel, have got the momentum. Now, they are in a position that no other side in the top 8 are in. And that is the fact that South Africa are the only side in that top 8 to have lost 2 games so far throughout this Olympics competition. But that does not mean they can't win, because 3 games in a row, if they win these next 3, they will be Olympic champions. So even though they come in as underdogs for this game, I think it will be a good showing from the South Africans. But I'm going to say New Zealand win it 21-19. I think it's going to be very close between these two sides. New Zealand's defence so far throughout the competition has been pretty strong, only conceding a maximum of 2 tries per game, 2 of which though were up against the Japanese. I can see the South Africans scoring 3 tries at least in this game, and I think it's just going to be a really awesome game of Rugby Sevens. But nonetheless, do let me know your score predictions in the comments down below. This game kicking off at 7 AM New Zealand time, which is 9 PM for you guys in South Africa. We will be doing the commentary on the channel, so also be sure to check that out. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.